Hello everyone, my name is Dr. Tyler Horton. I am a physical therapist and I am practicing in central New Jersey. If you have any additional questions about me or want to know a little bit more about me, feel free to visit my website or my intro video on the MS Hope for a Cure website. All right, so today what I really wanted to focus on for this exercise class is on vision. And you might be thinking exercise is stretching, is strengthening, is working on your balance, but vision is a very important component of somebody's balance, and it takes up a lot of different processes in order to kind of manage your stability kind of on a day-to-day life when you're walking to and from the kitchen, when you're when you're reading a book. Your brain has to do a lot of coordination that is related to your vision. Now, before we start any of the exercises, I just want to make sure that I at least put this out there. If you have any difficulty with your vision, or if you notice any double vision, if you get any headaches during any of these exercises, please feel free to pause the video, stop the video. If you notice any difficulties that you hadn't seen before, this is a good opportunity to discuss with your neurologist or your eye doctor. But I'm just going to go through the basics of some eye movements and some other movements and coordinated processes that we go through when kind of just introducing vision rehab as part of an individual plan of care. So again, back to vision, when we're talking about vision overall, it's really a bit of a brain hog. So when you talk about how much of your brain you use to kind of take in information from your eyes, it usually, and estimates kind of put it at about 40 to 50% of our brain is used for vision and hits every single lobe in our brain. We tend to think the back of our brain is associated most with vision, and this is true, but however, when we process the information that we get from our eyes, that spans the entire scope of our brain. And if you have MS or know someone with MS, we know that that MS can have an impact on any part of the brain. So if we're talking about vision as being all-encompassing in a broad spectrum of places in the brain, as well as MS kind of affects a lot of different parts of the brain, then we can say that generally speaking, vision is something that could very easily be affected in individuals with multiple sclerosis. Some common symptoms and common diagnoses within vision that we see is optic neuritis, which is inflammation in the optic nerve, which can cause a field cut or potentially a loss of vision in one eye. You can also see nystagmus, or otherwise referred to as dancing eyes, where the eyes kind of control beat either side to side or up and down, either when you're looking straight ahead or off to the side. And then another common vision issue that we see in MS is diplopia, or double vision, which tends to come up when your eyes are not coordinated with each other. Then you tend to see two, or your vision tends to be a little bit skewed. So that's enough of that. What I want to do now is give you just a couple exercises to help to kind of improve your vision, because as I talked about before, vision is a very important sensory system when it comes to processing information and also your balance. So I've got two Sharpies here. You can also feel free just to use your two thumbs or just one thumb through some of these different exercises that we're going to go through, just to give yourself something to have as a visual target to look at. So the first thing that we want to make sure that we're doing is we're sitting in a nice upright position in a supported back chair. These exercises can also be done while standing, but that incorporates a little bit more of your balance. So we want to make sure that when you're starting off with these and you haven't had any experience doing any visual exercises, you make sure that you can kind of get through them without getting any dizziness or without having any headaches before you challenge yourself a little bit more and try to do these again standing. So if you are interested in doing these exercises again, if you find that going through these in a seated position you're tolerating it well and you want to progress it a little bit, just press rewind or start this all over again and try it when you're standing, and then you're going to be able to kind of add that additional balance challenge. Make sure initially you've got something to kind of hold on to in case you lose your balance, and if you're ever feeling unsteady, I would highly recommend just kind of can it and work on your vision in a seated position. You're still going to get a whole lot of benefit from these exercises. So first thing that I like to do when we're starting with visual training is just to work on your eye mobility. So in essence, what we're going to do is start to look in different directions and just try to hold that gaze for a little bit, just so that we can kind of work those muscles and just kind of warm them up a little bit. So the first thing that I'm going to have you do is you're going to look all the way up, keeping your head still, look all the way up to the ceiling as high as you can. We're going to hold that for 3, 2, 1, good, and then come back to center. Next, what I'm going to have you do is look down, all the way down to the floor again, holding your head facing forward. You're going to look 3, 2, 1, and back. All right, now we're going to go all the way to the right. We're going to look as far as you can. 1, 2, 3, and back to the middle. And then all the way to the left. As far as you can. 1, 2, 3, good. All right, we're going to go through that same sequence again. So eyes up to the ceiling. 1, 2, 3, back to the middle. Eyes down to the floor. 1, 2, 3. Back to the middle, eyes to the right, 1, 2, 3, good, and eyes to the left, 1, 2, 3, good. Okay, now what we'll try to do is we're going to work in a diagonal plane, so we're going to kind of go up and down, and that's going to kind of just engage some different muscles in your eyes. So first thing that I want you to do is go up and to the right, look up, 2, 3, back to the middle. We'll go up and to the left. 1, 2, 3, back to the middle. We're going to go down to the right. 1, 2, 3, back to the middle, and down to the left. 1, 2, 3, good. We're going to go through that sequence one more time. So up to the right. 1, 2, 3, good. Up to the left. 1, 2, 3, good. Down to the right. 1, 2, 3, and down to the left. 1, 2, 3. Very good. Okay, so as I said before, if you're noticing any sort of a headache or you're feeling a little bit of strain, feel free to pause this video, kind of let that calm down a little bit. We're going to kind of work our way through these different eye movements. Feel free to do it at your own pace. I don't want anybody to finish with all these exercises and end up with a splitting headache. So just kind of easily work your way through these, and don't stress out, and don't get upset if you can't finish the entire series in one go. All right, so the next thing that I want to work on is just simple fixation. So what fixation is really being able to hold your gaze at one specific object for a duration of time, where generally speaking, if we're kind of getting through our day, what we tend to see where our eyes are kind of bouncing around all over the place, and just trying to scan our environment. So it's good to kind of take a step back every once in a while and really just focus in on honing on one specific spot for a period of 10 to 15 seconds. As you progress with this, we can get all the way to 30 seconds all the way up to a minute, but that's going to cause a little bit more strain on the eyes. So just as an intro, we're going to work on a 15-second increment and then go from there. So we're going to do fixation just straight ahead, and then we'll just do a little bit off to the right and then a little bit off to the left. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is I'm just going to use my Sharpie here. I'm going to point it right in front. I'm going to stare right at the tip of that Sharpie, and I'm going to hold that right there for 15 seconds. May seem like a long time, may seem very short for you, so you'll have to kind of get a good gauge of where your vision is at to see if this is going to be more or less of a challenge for you. Okay, All right, that's 15 seconds. Give yourself a little bit of a break. Now, when we move into these different fields, when we go to the right and we go to the left, what we're doing is we're engaging different eye muscles in order to maintain that focus. So we're going to start off by going off to the right. So I'm going to hold it off to the right in front of me. I'm going to keep my head facing forward, and I'm going to keep my eye focused on the tip of that Sharpie. And we're going to hold this here for 15 seconds, keeping that focus. Don't let it drift. Again, we're normally used to kind of looking all over the room. We're just trying to fixate on that one spot. And good, okay. Again, let's rest. Kind of, if you need to close your eyes and just kind of give yourself a little bit of a mental rest, that's fine too. And then lastly, what we're gonna do is we're gonna go off to the left side. So I'm gonna hold it out, turn my eyes, and then keep my eyes focused right on the tip of that Sharpie. I'm gonna hold this here for 15 seconds. Again, this is an intro. If you want to continue to work on this, feel free to start to increase that duration a little bit as you get better and better, and you can tolerate it a little bit more. Okay, all right, so that was 15 seconds, 3 times. You can also work in the vertical field where we go up and down, or as we had done the other exercises, we can go in the diagonal field as well. Yeah, the main thing I want you to focus on when you're doing these exercises is keeping your head straight and kind of deviating just with your eyes, not turning your head and looking at the target that you're holding up. This can be done, also if you want to put a visual target on the wall. If your arm's going to get tired from holding it up there, that's also something you can do. Or you can have a loved one or a partner, hold up something for you to kind of look at and fixate on. All right, so the next key component of vision is working on smooth pursuits. So smooth pursuits is your ability to track an object as it moves through your visual field, and that's using your eyes, not necessarily your whole head. So what I'm going to work with you right now on is working on that visual field, kind of allowing your body or your eyes to follow that object by keeping your head straight versus moving your head as you're focusing on an object. So that's a little bit different, and we'll get there towards the end of this video. But first thing that we're going to work on is smooth pursuits. We're going to go side to side, and we're going to go up and down. You don't want to go too fast, and you don't want to lose focus. So the most important thing is to go at a speed that will allow you to kind of keep the tip of your thumb or the tip of the marker in focus the entire time. If you're going too fast, or your gaze starts to go up or starts to go down, or maybe kind of leads and gets in front of whatever you're looking at, you want to slow it down, kind of give your arm a rest, give your eyes a little bit rest, and then start back up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by going horizontally or side to side. I'm going to, again, hold my head nice and in a forward-facing direction. I'm going to double check and make sure I'm in a nice, good seated position, nice and upright, working on my posture. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my Sharpie and I'm going to keep my eyes focused right on the tip again, and then I'm going to bring it all the way to one side and all the way to the other. All the way to the right and all the way to the left. As you can see, I'm not moving my head, I'm just moving my eyes, and I'm tracking it as it goes back and forth. You can go through this repetition, anywhere from 5 to 10 times. And then conversely, after that, we're going to go up and down. So I'm going to kind of, again, keep my eye fixated on the top of this Sharpie, and then I'm going to go up and then down. Resist the urge to look up as you're doing this and look down with your head as you're doing this. You really just want to use your eyes. So I'm going to keep my head focused forward. My eyes are going to go up, and I'm going to bring it down. My head's still forward, and I'm going to look down. All the way up and all the way down. Don't worry if when you're doing this it gets a little bit blurry at the end, because when we get towards the end of our range of motion of our eyes, that's where we can kind of lose a little bit of that, a little focus, but try to move within the visual field where you can kind of maintain, that the tip of the Sharpie being nice and clear. Good. All right. We're going to close our eyes. We're going to take a little rest. Again, you can feel free to pause the video if you're noticing that you're getting any sort of headache, any symptoms, if you're getting any dizziness, anything like that. Feel free to pause the video or even just kind of stop it entirely, and that kind of would also give you something to talk to your doctor about or talk to your neurologist about, to kind of say, there's something that I didn't really notice is going on before, but the more information that you can share with your medical professionals, the better, so that they can better address your needs. All right, so we're going to do one more round where we're going to go side to side and up and down again with those smooth pursuits. So I'll skip that, and I'm just going to do my thumb this time. So I'm just going to stare at my thumbnail. So I'm going to keep my head facing forward, and then I'm going to watch my thumb as I go across, back and forth. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Good. I'll give it a little bit of a rest, and then I'm going to do the same thing, only I'm going to go up and down. So I'm going to hold it at arm's length. Again, I'm going to keep my head facing forward. I'm not going to tilt my chin up and my chin down. I'm just going to follow my thumbnail with my eyes. So I'm going to go up and down and up and down, up and down. That's 3. Make sure you're not getting ahead of yourself. Make sure you're keeping your Sharpie, your pen, or your thumbnail in focus the entire time. And back down. I think that was 5. Okay. All right, so those are smooth pursuits. We can also work in that diagonal plane. I'm going to skip that for today, but also you can take that and build that into your vision practice as well. So that's really helpful, when we're talking about smooth pursuits. If you're driving in a car and you're seeing, you're seeing kind of traffic drive by, or if you're in the grocery store and you're making sure that as you're walking, you've got somebody kind of coming out in your periphery. You got to kind of make sure that you're holding off as they come across, and to make sure that you're not bumping into them or anything. Okay, so next thing that I like to work on with my clients is convergence. So convergence is your eye's ability to fixate on an object as it's coming forward, as it's coming towards you. So back to the car example, that will give you the ability to see oncoming traffic and how fast oncoming traffic could be coming at you. Same thing if you're walking outside, if you're walking in the neighborhood or out on the boardwalk, you can get a good judge of how quickly something's coming at you. Another thing, if somebody's throwing a ball at you or anything like that, that's what convergence is your ability to kind of track that as it's coming a little bit closer. So always good to kind of practice and kind of build into our routines. So an easy way to do that, again, we're going to either use the thumb or we're going to use the tip of the pen. And what I'm going to have you do is we're going to try to bring the tip of the pen as close as you can to your nose before it starts to get blurry. So once it starts to get blurry, that's telling you that we've got to take a little break. Your eyes are kind of converging in, and that's about as far as you can go. And everybody's got their own level of depth that they can get to. As we age, that level gets a little bit farther away. So if I'm a little bit older, maybe I can get only to here. But with relatively healthy eyes, you can usually get between 2 or 3 centimeters away from your nose before you lose focus on the tip of the pen. So we're going to go through a few rounds. We just did 1. We're going to do 5 in a row. So we're going to hold that pen out at arm's length, and we're going to bring it in nice and close, nice and slowly, until you start to lose focus. Make yourself cross-eyed. Good. Again, kind of give yourself a little break in between each. Reach that out. Bring it in. Keep it nice and focused. All right, I lost focus right there. I'm going to take a little break. Extend out. Bring it back. Nice and slowly. Keep it in focus the entire time. Oh, I lost it. Okay, I'm going to do 2 more. Okay, and you'll notice your eyes are going to feel a little bit worked after doing some of these. And last one. Good. Okay. All right. So that's a great exercise. If you feel any headache or if you feel any pressure in your head or pressure in your eyes, pause the video, let it subside, or just take a mark of how far into the video you got, and then just give it a break for the day, and feel free to come back to it again tomorrow or the next day. We're going to go through two more movements with your eyes, and then we'll give it a break. So the next thing that we're going to work on is saccades. So saccades is what your eyes do when they kind of bounce between different objects. So say you're in the grocery store and you're looking for a box of cereal, and you've got cereal boxes galore on both sides, and your eyes are kind of bouncing back and forth to try to figure out where are those Fruit Loops. This is the idea behind it, and the system and the eye movements that you're using are termed saccades. So the way that we practice those, we can again work in different planes of motion. Today we're going to be just doing horizontal and vertical. Again, you can also kind of do the diagonal planes as well. But what we'll practice with is starting with the horizontal. Again, I'm going to use my Sharpies, but you can also use your thumbs out in front. So you're going to have about a foot and a half between. You're going to hold out at arm's length, and again, you can also have somebody hold something for you. You can put different spots on the wall in front of you, and you can do the same exercise this way. But essentially what we're going to do is we're going to go back and forth between 2 targets, and we're going to try to go as quickly as we can to then just to work on to work on that eye movement and try to have that rapid alternating movement as quickly as we can. Okay, so I'm going to hold these out in front of me at arm's length, and I'm going to bounce back and forth between the 2, and as quickly as you can, you want to make sure that you're getting all the way to each target, and each target is nice and clear as you're doing it, and you're going to want to go through about 10 or 20 repetitions of that. Or again, if you start to get any headaches or anything like that, or you notice any dizziness pop up from that, then give it a break, and then you can just kind of go to your eye doctor or your neurologist and say, I was doing this vision exercise, I got a little symptomatic. What do you think caused that? All right, so we're going to go through it again. So arms are going to be out in front. I'm going to bounce my eyes back and forth between the Sharpies. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Good. And again, give yourself a nice break in between. The other thing that I didn't mention, but you want to again make sure that your head stays nice and focused straight forward. Your eyes are going to be what's moving, not your head. So we're going to do one more round side to side, and then we'll go up and down. So again, eyes straight forward. I'm going to hold them out in front of me, and then we're going to bounce back and forth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Good. All right. And we'll take a little break before we go up and down. I'll lose my Sharpies, and I'm going to use my thumbs for the next one. So I'm going to stack my hands right up on top of each other, and I'm going to, again, want to have about a foot and a half in between each. and then I'm gonna look up to the top, down to the bottom, making sure that every time I look up, my top thumb's in focus, and every time I look down, my bottom thumb's in focus. So I'm gonna bounce as quickly as I can back and forth for 10 repetitions. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Good. I'm gonna take a little break. If you can't go as fast as I can, or if you can go faster than I can, feel free to go at your pace. We're gonna go again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Good. We're doing 3 rounds of each. Again, in between each round, just kind of do a check. Make sure you're not feeling any additional pressure in your head, or if your eyes are getting heavy, or if you're noticing any dizziness or anything like that, feel free to, again, pause, let those symptoms subside a little bit, or just kind of give the video a break for the day. All right, lastly, again, about a foot apart, I'm going to go up, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Good. So those are saccades. Last thing that I want to work on, that we're going to finish up with, is working a little bit more. So everything that we've done so far has been working specifically with your eye movements and allowing your gaze to be straightforward as you're moving your eyes in different directions. Next thing that we're going to do is we're going to work on the coordination of your eyes and your head. So it's referred to as your vestibular ocular reflex. So your vestibular system was within your inner ear, and what happens is your vestibular system gives input to your eye muscles to allow them to fixate and track on a topic or on an object as your head moves through space. So this is really important. If we're walking, we tend to our head will bounce a little bit up and down or side to side, and if we didn't have this reflex, what would happen is everything would look like it's bouncing around us. So what your vestibular system does is it kicks in, and it allows us to kind of keep that fixation on whatever we're looking at, whether we're just kind of looking at the ground in front of us, whether we're talking to a friend next to us, whatever it might be. It allows us to maintain that gaze without seeing everything kind of bouncing around us. So in order to work on that, what we're going to do is this time we're going to hold this object in front of us nice and still, and our head is going to be what's going to be moving. So we can go at a pace that feels comfortable for you. The quicker you go, the harder it's going to become to maintain focus. So start with a comfortable pace as you're getting used to these exercises, and as you kind of progress, feel free to go a little bit faster, but make sure that you can keep the tip of your pen or the tip of your thumb in focus the entire time. So I'm going to hold the Sharpie in front of me, and we're going to start by going into the horizontal plane, back and forth. So I'm going to keep my eyes focused right on the tip of the pen, and I'm going to turn my head side to side, back and forth. I'm not going too fast, but keeping the tip of the pen in focus the entire time. Again, we can go through about 10 or 15 rounds of these, and then after that, just kind of give it a little break. Now, it's not uncommon to feel a little off once you terminate this exercise, and that happens even with healthy individuals, but it should only last 1 or 2 seconds. If it lasts a little bit longer, just kind of give yourself a little bit longer of a break, or just kind of, again, we can kind of go back to it, or slow it down, slow the pace down during the next time that you do it. Again, we don't want to cause any headaches or any dizziness or any nausea when we're doing these exercises. All right, so we're going to go one more time side to side, and then we're going to go up and down as well. So I'm going to hold that right in front. I'm going to turn my head side to side like I'm shaking no. I'm going to go through 10 or 15 cycles, keeping the tip of the pen in focus the entire time as I'm going back and forth. 3, 2, 1, and then I'm going to take a break. Okay, we'll let things settle. Again, even I feel kind of I got to reorient a little bit because my head was shaking, and now I can kind of fixate on objects that without seeing my whole visual field moving around. All right, so then next what we're going to do is we're going to try the same thing, only we're going to go vertically. So I'm going to hold this pen out in front, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to nod my head up and down like I'm saying yes, but I'm going to go at a pace where I can keep the tip of the pen in focus and I don't lose it. And we're going to again go through about those 10 or 15 cycles. So we're going to keep that right through there. I'm going to go up and down. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Good. Again, give yourself a little bit of break in between. If you're feeling like you can push it a little bit more, either you can increase the repetition, the duration that you're doing, all the way up to about 30 seconds. I wouldn't really recommend going any longer than that. Or you can, again, increase that speed a little bit. All right, so I'm going to, again, fixating on the tip of the pen, or again, I could just use my thumb, stick it out in front, fixate on my thumbnail, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to nod my head up and down. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Good. Again, I'll give myself a little bit of a break. You can go through 3 or 5 rounds of those. And again, as I mentioned, being seated in a chair with good upright posture is the best way to get started with these, whether you want to kind of sit upright with your back off of the chair, or if you need a little bit more support, you can lean back, but make sure that your shoulders are back, and make sure you've got your chin back a little bit better. Okay? All right, so we went through a whole bunch today. Like I said, you can go through, you can kind of start at the very beginning, kind of build onto the skills as you work your way all the way up to the VOR exercises that we finished with. But all of these are going to be super beneficial, to kind of work on your vision system. But as you're working on your vision system, you're also working on your balance, because again, we use our balance. We use our vision for a good amount of our balance, and especially if anybody's got any sensory deficits, if you have any numbness in your legs or difficulty, with the strength of your ankles, you're going to compensate, probably use your vision a little bit more than other people. So because you're not getting the same signals from your ankles and your feet, so that makes your vision even that much more important to work on in order to kind of shore yourself up and stay nice and steady. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. My information is again on my link in the within the website, and I look forward to hearing any questions or feedback that you guys might have. All right, thanks for spending the time with me, and good luck through the rest of the Wellness Challenge. Take care.